We are What the Fuck WWF, an environmental youth group affiliated with Extinction Rebellion. Countless communities across Africa and Asia are being violently evicted by the eco-guards that WWF trains, equips, finances and supports, and by WWF's conservation partners. And these are not just a few bad apples. These abuses and evictions are systemic. They are integral to the model of fortress conservation that WWF supports all across the world.
We're not going to leave.
That's fine.
And the hope is to create circles of dialogue where we can talk with the staff and we can understand where we're coming from and we can build a kind of a rapport and a communication around it.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and that's a great plan.
We're here to amplify Indigenous voices and let their words speak for themselves.
Indigenous people, they're 5% of the population and they protect 80% of the world's biodiversity. It's their conservation methods and their knowledge that we need, and they've been doing it for generations. And WWF coming in, deciding that Western conservation is the ideal, the thing we should be doing. Even, creating connections with companies like Coca-Cola, companies like Shell, supporting work of these companies to use that land for profit.
How is it possible that most of WWF's board members are corporate people rather than ecologists?
There are many leaders from these communities that have tried to talk with the WWF, and the WWF did completely ignore them. And so the reason why we're here is to force the senior staff to actually talk with them and confront what's happening on the ground. They have not been listened to for so long, and you cannot do direct action in such an easy way in Tanzania and Kenya, and that's why we're coming here.
We've made public statements and will continue to make public statements that of course we would oppose anything anywhere where free, prior, informed consent is not being applied.
WWF made great policies about Indigenous peoples, all the policies, all the public relations are spot on. Unfortunately, we work with various Indigenous groups that right now are being evicted. There are 2 leaders from Tanzania, 2 leaders from Kenya, and 2 leaders from Cameroon. And so we are happy to set up a Zoom call for you to have a conversation with these communities that are basically ready to speak with you.
And to be clear, I'm not going to be doing that today.
We were not asking them to speak on behalf of other countries or other officers.
If there isn't anything further that you wanted to discuss with us today, then I would politely ask that you leave at this point.
I just want to be clear. You've been given a direction to leave now, if that's right.
So currently the team is locking on for all the people that are willing to be taken in, and we'll just have to be removed.
So why are you so resistant in even engaging on the subject of Indigenous dispossession?
We've told you we're not going to do that bit. So.
They are actually pursuing policies that will just lead to more and more exploitation of the planet, of people, entirely for profit.
WWF! WWF! What the fuck? What the fuck?
WWF are basically a giant PR firm, and so the image of a number of young activists being arrested is obviously not what they want. So we're attempting to use that to bring them back to the table to face the truth of how colonial conservation affects people across the world.
This is a brave action of an internationalist solidarity collective of young people to expose the criminality of so-called conservation being malpracticed.
Our partners have formed a representative organization of Indigenous people across Cameroon, which is Babandi, and they made this declaration on conservation and human rights, which has been completely ignored by WWF.
I do believe that most people who support WWF really want to do what's best for the planet, and that is to support Indigenous people. So if we show what it really does, then I think people can make informed decisions about what to do with their money.
Maybe the people that volunteer to work here, maybe they don't know what's really happening.
They have evacuated their building, they have run away in fear, understanding that they are complicit in the eviction and destruction of these people's homes. And yet for now, what you can see is that there are empty seats, empty hearts.
We are doing this live stream on the day that the IUCN conference starts, when the 30 by 30 plan will be discussed. The proposal to make 30% of planet Earth a protected area, a proposal that could quite possibly become the biggest land grab in the history of the world.
So we are leaving, but we are leaving with our heads held high. We are leaving to regroup, to regather. We stand in solidarity with you, our partners across the world. Thank you, huge love. This campaign continues. And so finally, what the fuck, WWF?